Hello, my name is Dustin, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create a simple pause screen in Unity. I created a quick scene here to demonstrate how the pause screen works. I'm going to push play here and show you the game. It's just a simple game, walk around, first person. And right now I'm going to press the P key, which pauses the screen and overlays a transparent screen and stops all audio in the game. And pushing the P again will resume the game. And I'll be showing you how to create that. And right now, we'll leave this Unity and go into Photoshop, and I'll start with the first steps. All right, now we're in Photoshop here. I'm going to open a new file. I think I already have it saved here. Yeah, the dimensions are really important here to be the perfect size for your screen. It's 1920 by a height of 1080. And I'm going to fill this with black, like so. And I like if you adjust the opacity here down to 50%, it'll give that translucent effect on the screen in the game. And add your text. I'm going to make sure it's white so it shows up. And write out pause. And just make sure you center that. And then you're going to, basically when you get that the right look you want it to be, like so, you will then save it and we'll be importing that into Unity. Right now we're back in Unity, Game tab, so you can actually see the asset you just created in Photoshop. You're going to see that and be able to adjust it to your screen. We're going to go into the game object and create an empty game object and rename it. Rename it Pause GUI, Pause GUI. And I'm going to add game component, go down to rendering, and add GUI texture. And here we're going to import the Photoshop image we just created. Find it here. Import that. And we're going to take that and we're going to drag that right into our GUI texture. And if it doesn't come up, you got to make sure that the position is at 0, 0 at all positions. And this is very important. Then you're going to have to, this is going to be different for everybody, but change positioning so it lines up with your screen. So yours may not match mine. I'm just going to move this over here so it lines up. Adjust the Y. Right there. And now that we have that all set up, we're going to add script to it to make our pause screen work. Okay, now we're back in Unity. We're going to open a script here, and we're going to create a JavaScript. I'm going to rename it Pause Game, and we're going to open the script here. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to delete the start function. And if you noticed, I'm in a separate text editor to save some time and some speed on my computer. I'm just going to do it in a text editor and then transfer the file over into Unity. And so right now I'm going to set up the variables, and the first variable is going to be the pause game, which is the controls for the game. And we're going to set a Boolean value for that, and that's going to be set to false. And later in the script, it'll turn to true, which will then freeze the game. But for right now, it's going to be set to false. And the second variable is going to be another private variable, and that's going to be set to that's going to be the GUI texture that we have, and that's going to be another Boolean value set to false. And when that turns true in the script, it will display our GUI textures that we created. Okay, now we're going to go down to the update function and set up our first input here, or if statement. And it's going to be for the key press for the for the letter P. So when the player presses it, it will pause the game. And we're going to go down to set up the controls here. And that's going to be we're going to set the pause game to true and set up an if statement with that and make that true. And when that is true, it will freeze the audio and set that to true. And it will freeze the gameplay, which is using the time scale. And I'm going to set that to 0. And it's going to freeze the controls as well. And then it's going to affect the some objects in the game, which is mainly the main camera. And that's going to freeze the camera so the player cannot look around. It's going to have the mouse look on there. That's going to be false. As well as we're going to add another game object, and that's going to be the player, which is really the player controls, but I renamed it player in my game. And that's going to, so the player cannot move around at all during the pause. And also during the pause, we're going to set the GUI texture to be displayed, which is the pause screen, and set that to true. And then we're going to go down to the actual controls and set some if statements for that and reverse everything to where when the player resumes the game, and set an if statement here to false. And we're going to bring back the audio when the game resumes after he pushes the button with the audio listener there. And now we're going to go on to the time scale back to 1. So the player can now move around, and add more controls here to the player and set that to false. And I'm going to copy and paste these game objects because we're just going to change the Boolean values on that just to save some time on that. And we're going to adjust the and now I'm going to adjust the GUI and change that to false because the GUI texture is going to go away. And we're going to make that an if statement for that. For the GUI texture, when it's true, it will display our actual texture, which is called our pause GUI. And that's going to be enabled true. And we're going to set an else statement that will make it, I'm going to copy and paste here, save some time, and set that to false. So then it will go away. And that's it. And now I'm gonna take this script and put this into the game. Okay, I'm back in Unity, and I took the file that we created in the text editor, and I just copy and pasted it into the file that we already created in Unity. And now I'm going to take that script and put it right onto the main camera. It's really important. And make sure it attached correctly. There it is. It's right there. And now we're going to play the game and test it out. And you can see that there's motion, and you can hear the audio. And now I'm going to push the pause button. And you can see our screen, GUI screen pops up. And I'm going to resume the game. You can see the audio is stopped as well. And now we can move around. And that is how you create a pause screen in Unity.